Welcome everyone to this Google Hangout. I would like to invite Kashi who is taking time off to be with us and share with us about questions that have come in. Kashi welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ari. It's a pleasure to be doing this with you.
Uh, so we have received some questions from all over the world. And many people have asked questions related to chanting. Um, So one of the questions that have come up is, I have learned a few chantings already. Is it mandatory to get initiation into Upanayanam?
Okay. Upanayanam literally means getting close to the self. Upa means closer, Nayana means leading. Upanayan literally means leading closer to the self. Now you might ask, what relation does this have with mantra and chanting? Now every mantra, every chant is like a key, and it unlocks something. In fact, every mantra is like a container, like a cup. I think that's a better example. And every cup can hold something. Like a cup can hold Ojasvita, for example, which is very healthy and tasty too. Now, you can't drink the cup, but you can put Ojasvita in the cup and drink that Ojasvita. The cup is like the mantra, and the stuff inside the cup, the Ojasvita, is like the grace of the master. And that's why, even though we might get mantras on the internet, we might listen to recordings, we might listen to other people chanting, we might learn it to chant the correct way, but unless it comes in the right manner, then it doesn't make that much of an impact. For example, our Sahaj mantra, it might be just a sound, but yet when it comes as a mantra, as an initiation, it takes us into meditation, into the depths of samadhi. So that is the power of initiation. And that's why it doesn't matter even if you have had, uh, if you've learned some mantras from here or there, but when you get initiated into a mantra, that starts the journey towards the self. And that's what the Upanayana is. For those who have already had an Upanayana ceremony in their life, you can still come and do the course because the meaning of the mantras is so amazing. For many of us who have learned, like I did my Upanayana when I was 7 years old. I mean, I was very young, I don't even remember. And I religiously, I would do my Sandhya Vandana, Gayatri Japa, everything. Yet when I came to Gurudev and I heard him talk about the mantras, the same thing that I was chanting all these years, suddenly it made sense. And for a person on the spiritual path, um, all these three layers, the chanting, the meaning, and the feeling, when all three come together, it really makes the whole practice blossom. It brings a different depth to our practice. And that's why this Upanayana ceremony is such a beautiful ceremony, such a beautiful gift that Gurudev has given to all of us to enable us to go deeper and use the mantra and know about it and to practice it in a manner that can enable us to reach the self. It's another way to reach the self. Ari. I think you need to unmute yourself, Ari.
Yeah, I just found that out also. So one question related to this is, which mantra is good to clean the worries and depression?
You know, the best mantra to clean all the impressions is Soham. And that's something that we've already got. That was our stepping stone onto this path. There is nothing that really cleans up all the impressions better than the grace of the master. You know, uh, once upon a time, long, long ago, far, far away, like all good stories begin, Someone asked Guruji, Gurudev, if everything is according to karma, then why meditate? Why come to a guru? So Guruji said, yes, everything happens according to the karma, according to the law. Yet the guru has the veto power. He can change things. And that's when I realized that yes, there is a method, there is a way to go beyond our karmas. What exactly are karma? In the Gita it says Gahana Karmano Gati. The ways of karma are inscrutable, unknowable. In a sense, karma really means just the impressions that are left of all our experiences. And maybe you have done something 10 years back and it still bothers you. Now, when we do a course, when we do a kriyas, somehow all these impressions get released. And then, though the past cannot be changed, yet the impact of the past can definitely change. And that's how all these techniques, the Sudarshan Kriya, the Sahaj, the practices, Seva, Sadhana, all of this tend to get rid of all these impressions, allow us to live our life freer, to be not a slave of all our impressions. So many times, all my decisions, whatever I do, is based on what has happened to me in the past, and that makes me keep doing the same things again and again. And the Gayatri mantra and the Agni Karya, the fire ceremony, that is another powerful way of burning all our past impressions. It's like you're literally offering your impressions into the fire, burning it off, so to speak. I'm just putting it simplistically. Of course, the whole process is so much more complex. Who knows how all the things that we do, how they affect the impressions that were there. That's why the Gita says it's all Gahana Karmanogati. It's all unknowable. Yet, by having a guru in our life, by following the path, by doing the practices, it takes us in that direction, helps us to be free of the past and enables us to live our life in the present moment. So I would say it starts off with Soham, and then it goes on so many different techniques Guruji gives us, the Shakti Kriya, the Sudarshan Kriya, the Upanayana, the chanting, Seva projects. It's amazing. Yeah, Hari.
Yes. Wow. It's nice how you can make complicated things so simple. There's one other question that has come from the America. Uh, First, they're asking what is the effect of mantras on our body and how to use them.
Every mantra has an impact somewhere. Um, every mantra, every sound has an impact. Someone shouts at you, it has an impact on the mind. Someone says nice things, it has an impact on the mind. So, in a sense, um, so many things impact our mind, and the the mantra, specific mantras have specific impact on the mind. So, for example, the Gayatri mantra, which you received during the Upanayana, it says Dhimahi. Dhi means the buddhi or the intellect. It simply says, let the supreme intelligence that runs this whole creation, let that supreme intelligence illumine mine, our intellect. So it's a universal prayer. It says, let everyone's intellect be illumined by the supreme intelligence that runs this whole show. The earth moves around. There's so much intelligence in this whole creation. Just imagine a seed turns into a mango, and another seed turns into a pineapple, for example. So it's all so beautifully, this creation is so beautifully organized. So the Gayatri mantra says, let it illumine my intellect. And that's what the Gayatri does. And so especially for students, it's so useful. That's how the Upanayana ceremony came about. It said that when you start your education, We start with the Gayatri mantra. Means, let the highest knowledge, let the supreme illumine be the first thing that this brain captures, the intellect captures. And in a similar sense, different mantras are there for different things. For example, the Trayambakam mantra is there, which is for long life. And different mantras like the Ganesha mantra, uh, they help us to overcome obstacles. Every one of us has problem solving skills. We all have the ability to solve problems. And when we chant the Ganesha mantra, it enhances these skills within us. And in the subtle, in the subtle universe, it helps to remove all the problems for life. This universe is not just that which is gross. There is so much that's subtle. A simple thing, for example, we have our mobile phones, and the mobile phone is a gross thing, yet it works on the principle of electromagnetic waves, which connects you to the mobile phone tower, and you're able to call and talk to someone. This Google Hangout, this is happening across the world. All of you are watching. Even though the screen is gross, yet the energy, there is something subtle that really makes all these things stick. So just like the gross needs the subtle to exist, in the same way, when we do something in the gross, then it affects the subtle. For example, when you type on your keyboard, then that's something gross, and then that helps you to do something subtle, unlock your email, read your email, send some information. So just like the subtle affects the gross affects the subtle, and that's the principle of the mantra. When you chant certain mantras, you're making an impact on the subtle, and when that impact happens, then that in turn affects the gross once again. So it's like a cycle that goes on, and it's a very amazing science. Today, much of that science was almost lost to the world, but in our Gurukul, in our Vedic Gurukul, we are reviving these traditions. The purity of the mantras, the purity of the technique, the yajnas, and some of you might have already experienced all these things. And it's amazing how just by creating that whole subtle shift in the energy, so much difference can happen. So many people have got healed. So much transformation happens when the yajnas happen. It's amazing. So yeah, as the mantras do affect our gross existence, and when we chant the mantras, when we do some practices, when we do some techniques, the gross too affects the subtle. So it's something that's like a give and take, and it's all interlinked. It's interdependence. Next question.
Yes, Bhaiya, the next question is coming from Susan. Susan is asking, how significant is Mahashivratri for a seeker like me?
Mahashivratri. Um, Time has an impact uh, too. At different times, the mind is in different states. For example, when we wake up in the morning, some of us are morning people. When we wake up, it's early in the morning, we're just ready to go. Some people, you wake up in the morning, you just don't want to get out of the bed. It takes time for you to get up. So time affects people differently. At the same time, there is some universal impact. Like, for example, at certain times we get hungry, or if you look at the seasons, at different times the temperature changes. So time affects both gross and at the mental level too. Uh, One such time which is very, very auspicious for any sadhana, for any practice, is the Mahashivratri. In the Vedic tradition, it is said that Shiva comes and touches the earth on the Mahashivratri, which means what? That for a person on the spiritual path, it's very easy to transcend. It's as if the subtle and the gross meet, and there's a possibility of experiencing the divine. And that's why usually for many sadhaks, people prefer to spend it in the presence of their master, in the presence of their guru, to, to celebrate this moment, this time, this auspicious time. And that's why every Shivratri we have a huge big celebration. Lots of people come, and Gurudev actually goes around and meets each and every one personally. There's a darshan line that stretches all the way into the early hours of the morning, and Gurudev spends time with each and every person, blessing each and every one of us. So it's a special time, and for anyone on the spiritual path, this is a time which is ideal to be spent with your master, either physically, which is ideal, or even if you're not there physically, definitely make sure that you're there virtually, and meditation, more practices. The best way to actually spend the Shivratri, Shiva is considered the embodiment of consciousness, that unmoving, that unmanifest consciousness. And what better way to experience that than be on a silence program? So I would say, the if you can do it, the silence program with Guruji is probably the best way to, for a sadhak, for a spiritual practitioner, to spend Shivratri. Amrita, you were going to say something.
Yes, Kashi, we actually had one more question, and this was related to World Culture Festival. So,
Yeah.
that Gurudev has mentioned that World Culture Festival is also like a yajna. So, what is the effect of this yajna that you feel is going to happen for humanity as well?
Yeah, Amrita. It's very interesting. There is a knowledge sheet. Gurudev used to send these knowledge sheets out once a week till they hit 365 in number. And then he said, "Oh, well, when everyone starts reading the knowledge sheets, then we'll get out more knowledge sheets." And I guess today it has started again in the form of Twitter, where Gurudev tweets some knowledge, something of interest. Uh, I remember the knowledge sheets used to have a little knowledge and a news flash. So I see Gurudev doing that once again. But that's another story. So in one of the knowledge sheets, Gurudev talks about what is a yajna. And he says there are three components to a yajna. Deva Puja, Sangati Karana, Dana. Deva Puja means honoring the divine. There is divinity inherent in all aspects of our life. Um, whether it's the food that we are eating, whether it's the environment that we are living in, everything is filled with divinity. Honoring that divine uh, is Deva Puja. Often, because we are so caught up in our work or our daily life, we're not able to appreciate that the divine exists everywhere. Hardly ever do we think that the divine exists in the screen in front of me or on the keyboard that's right there in front of me. I feel, oh, this is not spiritual. Only when I sit for Kriya, that's spiritual. So the first aspect is honoring the divine, Dev Puja. The second is Sangati Karana, or Sangati means getting together, coming together. So Sangati Karana, people from all walks of life, people from everywhere come together, and that's Sangatikaran. That's the second aspect of yajna. When I do my sadhana on my own at my house, that's great. But when I come together to do long kriya with many people together, or even if I do my group kriya with 10 people together, that makes a difference. So in that sense, the second aspect of yoga is Sangatikarana, and here we are going to have 3.5 million people from across the globe coming together. It's an amazing example of Sangatikarana, or coming togetherness. And the third aspect is Dana. Dana literally means sharing what we have. Some people have knowledge, some people have material wealth, some people have spiritual wealth. So dana literally means, okay, whatever I have acquired till now, let me share a portion of that. Let me give back to society. And that dana is something that happens in every event that we do in Art of Living. So here we have an opportunity for each one of us to contribute our talents, our time, our resources, and be a part of this celebration. So these three aspects coming together is yajna. Now, how does this work? I remember once long back in the ashram, there was a silence program going on. It used to be called the advanced course in those days, and after the silence program, Gurudev would meet everyone in small groups in Shakti Kutir where he used to stay in those days. So there was a small group that had come. There were 5, 6 people, and Gurudev was talking to them. And one of them turned out to be a very big industrialist. And he loved the course. And he said, Gurudev, I really love the course. I feel so grateful. I'd like to do something. I'll build your whole ashram for you. I'll build all the kutirs. I'll build your meditation hall and so on, the dining hall, everything. I'd like to do something for you. The rest of us who were standing there, we felt very happy because in those days we had a meditation hall which had a very, very amazing roof. It had this amazing property that when water fell on the roof, it would actually magically go through the roof and come down and into the hall. So we were feeling, wow, we are actually going to get a hall that's nice and it will not leak. And Gurudev said, no. We were all stunned. We didn't know what was happening. Gurudev said, no, you come here, meditate, you enjoy, this place is for you, and you don't. And so then, after that person left, we all asked Guruji, he was actually going to build all of it for us. Why did you say no? Then Gurudev said, this meditation hall, so many people will come and meditate. And the punya, the merit of creating this hall will not go to one person, it will be distributed amongst many. That's when I realized that all these projects, all these events, everything that Gurudev does, the whole purpose is to distribute punya, to distribute merit. And for walking on the spiritual path, merit is needed, good karma is needed. So many people hear about the meditation, about the course, about the spiritual path, yet not everyone walks on the spiritual path. It takes good karma to be able to walk on the spiritual path. And what Gurudev does with all these events, all these seva projects, is it gives all of us an opportunity to walk on the spiritual path, to move ahead, to gather that good karma to enable us to keep moving ahead on the path. And that's why an event like the World Culture Festival, it's a time for all of us to, like they say in Hindi, Ganga to beh rahi hai, usme dubki lagao, tum bhi pavan ho jaoge. The Ganga is flowing, it's purifying. The waters are purifying. All you have to do is take a dip in it and you get purified too, you get refreshed. So in the same way, I feel that the WCF is a time where all of us can participate in whatever way we can and get purified. So the best way to participate, I would say there are 3 steps to it. One, do your sadhana. That's the best way you can participate. Just doing your sadhana and throwing this intention into the atmosphere, into the world. Hey, I'm part of this thing. I'm doing my meditation, and let the merit of all this meditation go to create the sattva that makes the WCF happen. The second aspect is, of course, come to the WCF. And there are so many programs around the WCF. There's the Vedic Wisdom, there are advanced courses, the Upanayana. I'm sure we would all like to come to India and be part of this wonderful experience. What better time to come than the WCF, where you can actually be part of something historic? And and it would cost a lot to go on a world tour. If you just come to Delhi and you have the whole world coming there, that's the best way to do a family reunion. So I would say the WCF is an opportunity for all of us to to participate and get some merit and move forward on the spiritual path. Next question,
Very
Ali.
nice. Yes, Bhaiya, as you might know, there's a teacher training program also in the ashram available after the WCF from 17 to 31. And Jens from Germany is asking, um, what's the sense of doing a teacher training program when you don't teach the happiness program afterwards?
What's the sense in doing the teacher training program when?
If you're not teaching the program afterwards.
Wow. You know, that's a very good question. Of course, when you do a teacher's training program, and then you have the ability to start teaching. Now, why do we do a teacher's training program? I would actually say that a teacher's training program really prepares us to learn more, to become a good student. And that's the whole purpose of a teacher's training program. Because when I say that I'm not a student, that's when my learning stops. And on a teacher's training program, when we get the tools to be able to make a difference in others' life, that's when our journey starts progressing. So I would say, as a teacher, when you do a teacher's training program, not only do you gain the ability to teach, but we gain the ability to know more about our own self. And and that's why I would suggest a teacher's training program for anyone who wants to go deeper on this path. Now, there are two kinds of people. You know, one set of people, we feel, I will not be ready to teach. I don't think I know enough to do a teacher's training program. When a child enters school, the child doesn't know addition, multiplication, or algebra or geometry. And it's the teacher's responsibility to make sure that the student learns, the child learns. In the same way, even if you don't feel like you're ready to teach, you can definitely do a teacher's training program, because it's the responsibility of the teacher to make sure you learn how to teach. So that's the responsibility of the TTP, teacher. The second aspect is some of us feel, yeah, I already know, I know yoga, I know, I'm very confident about teaching all these things. Why should I do the TTP? As a teacher, it makes so much sense to repeat a teacher's training program, because every time we do a teacher's training program, it refreshes something, it brings out all the abilities that are there within, and makes us able to 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 polish our own self. So the Art of Living Yoga Teachers Training Program, that's going to happen immediately after the World Culture Festival. It gives an opportunity for many of us who will probably be traveling so long from so far away to also gain some abilities when they're going back. But as far as should I do a teacher's training program if I don't plan to teach? Yeah, of course, definitely.
Yes,
Next question.
next question. Bhaiya, this is a specific question. Uh, Suchit from India is asking, Bhaiya,
Mhm.
in older days people used to chant some mantras and were able to become invisible. How was that possible? And I don't know, is it actually a
When
fact?
can you repeat this question?
The question is, in olden days people, he's saying that in olden days people used to chant mantras and were able to become invisible. How are these things
Uh-huh.
possible?
Oh, first of all, I don't know. Secondly, if you say that by chanting mantras you cannot become invisible, that must mean that you know all the mantras and you know the effect of all the mantras and you know exactly how to chant all those mantras. Well, I really don't, I can't pass a judgment. I can't say that it's not possible because who knows, everything is possible. That being said, of course, mantras give some siddhis. Regular practice of mantra, regular practice of the techniques definitely gives us abilities. You know, just recently in the last couple of months, Gurudev has given a new course for children, the intuition process. It's amazing the kind of results that the process has been giving. Um, in a recent course, the children of our Gurukul, those who have been chanting the Vedas regularly, they went through the intuition process, and as part of the process, as part of the course, the teacher gives them some flashcards with some numbers written on it, colors on it, and with eyes blindfolded, the kids are able to guess what that color. Kids are not able to guess; they're able to actually know what that color is, what the number is, and they answer correctly. When this process was going on, one of the kids told his teacher, "Why are you asking me all these simple things? Give me something challenging." So the teacher said, "Okay, what do you think is more challenging?" So the kid said, "Well, let me tell you what Guruji is going to say in satsang tomorrow." And he said, "In satsang, there will be this person who will get up and ask about this particular subject, and Guruji will say, read the Ashtavakra Gita and Patanjali Yoga Sutra. It's all there in that." So the teacher took the whole thing with a pinch of salt, and she thought the child is just play acting. Next day in satsang, the exact same incident happened. Someone stood up and asked the same question. Guruji gave that same answer, and the teacher was surprised. She went to Guruji and she related this incident, and Gurudev said, "Yes, of course. Our human mind has so many abilities, and because we have not really used them, they go into disuse. It's like um, before the advent of calculators and mobile phones, if someone would have asked you what is 465 plus 768, you would have said, okay, let me do it mentally, and you would have given the answer. But today we all reach for our phones or a calculator to calculate because our mind, because of disuse, our mind seems to have lost that ability to do some simple mental calculations. It could gain that ability again. In the same way, our mind has so much ability. The mantras help to kindle those abilities. And that's what we call siddhis. And so, definitely, the power of the mantra is there. And whether it's able to make me invisible or not, I will not be able to say because I have not experienced the same thing. Yet, mantras do allow us to increase the ability of our own mind, of our own system. That is for sure. Ari, how much time do we have? I'm sure
We have
you might
about,
have given an end.
yeah, normally we keep 1 hour for the Google Hangout. So that means we
Okay,
have 25 minutes left.
perfect. Then fire away, ask questions.
Yeah, so Venkai is asking, can you please share the latest information on the World Culture Festival?
Okay.
The latest information on
I guess
WCF.
latest information on WCF is the same information that was there earlier, that it's happening 11th, 12th, and 13th of March 2016, that's this year, and it's happening in Delhi. Uh, There are also a couple of other events planned around the same time. One is a global leadership forum, which is by invitation only, and there's a youth summit also happening. There's uh, uh, a conference of religious leaders also happening on the sidelines, and which will have its sessions on day two. So a lot of interesting things are happening in the WCF. In Delhi, I was there when the the we started the puja for starting the construction and the stage, basically to make that place ready for the WCF. It was very interesting. When we went there for the puja, the winds were blowing and the Yamuna was flowing there, and it was so beautiful. There was sand under our feet. It was just magical. That whole place is it's amazing. It's near Delhi and yet it's a completely isolated area, and it's not crowded at all. So there's a huge expanse of land, and we're going to see a it's going to be a magical evening. So I really look forward to it. And the whole Art of Living family in Delhi is gearing up so well to receive all of us there. Uh, there. I'm sure we're going to have a great time. Practically, a lot of things keep happening with the WCF. So many events are being planned around it. Next Sunday, we are going to have a special meditation that Gurudev is going to lead, One World, One Meditation, and that's happening next week, Sunday at 8 p.m. India time, right, Ari? I think that's the time.
It is happening 8 p.m. in Indian Standard Time. Correct.
Kind of time, 8 p.m. And this event will be available on Gurudev's Facebook page. So you can definitely go there and like the page, and uh, I'm sure you would have already liked the page, but you can go there and be part of the meditation. Similarly, there are other events also being planned. There's a video competition that's been planned around the WCF. So if you would like to, you can get together, create a video about the the principles of the World Culture Festival, something that could be showcased there, and you can submit your entry. All of this is available at artofliving.org/WCF. So there's a whole website with lots of information there. Whether you want to travel to India to be at this thing, if you want some accommodation there, if you'd like to participate in some of the events, there are the dances that are happening, the events that are happening around that time. So all of this and more is available on the site. There's also a WCF app that's been created by our Sumeru software team, which is showcasing all that is happening around the WCF. So um, that will give you up-to-date information, whether you want to network, you want to have accommodation, travel, all of that is available on the app also. So that's another way of staying up to date with WCF. Of course, you can follow the World Culture Festival handle WCF 2016 and be updated about activities surrounding the WCF. Adi?
Yes, Bhaiya, we have one more question that had come from Neha Goyal. She is asking, Bhaiya, is prayer always answered?
Is prayer always answered? Yes, prayer is always answered. How it is answered might be different in different ways. So it's not necessary it's answered in the same way that you think it will get answered. Often we feel that uh, my I want this particular answer to my prayer. So, and when it doesn't happen, then we feel, hey, what's happening? Why is my prayer not being answered? When in the Vedic tradition is very interesting. When the prayers are performed, the sankalpa is done, then it is said oh dear God, these are my requests. I'd like this to happen, A, B, C, D. And in the end, there is a disclaimer which says either all of this or something better. If you feel there's something better than all of this, please give me that. So we allow the divine the freedom to give us what is good for us. A lot of times the child doesn't know what is good for, for him or her. The parents know better. The child says, I don't want to go to school. But the parents say, no, go ahead, go to school. Education is great for you. And later on, the child says, oh, thank God you sent me to school. So, in that sense, whenever a prayer is done, make sure that whenever you're praying, you're asking the divine for something, you always put that disclaimer either all of this or something better than that. So, so in that sense, yes, you always get your prayers are always answered, but sometimes they're answered in a way that is better for us, not what we think we want to hear. Ali?
Yes, Misha Grenin from Russia. He is asking, Kashibaya, what will be new or special on the next Vedic wisdom program in February?
Every Vedic wisdom program is completely unique, and of course, we cover a lot of the things. In this Vedic wisdom program that just went by, we had some very interesting sessions on the darshanas, on the six darshanas, the six ways of looking at knowledge, and on the six Vedangas, the six limbs of the Veda, where we were looking at the various aspects of how the Vedas stand. So, in this, the current Vedic wisdom that's going to be coming up, we're looking at some very interesting Padyatra routes which will take us through the villages of Karnataka and allow us to experience a culture that's very unique to India. Also, the very fact that it's timed to be there along with the Navratri, it's a very precious time to be in the presence of Gurudev. We're also looking um, at a lot of sessions with Gurudev because his presence is going to be here quite more. And as you know, with Gurudev, each of his sessions are so totally unique that you cannot really say what exactly is going to happen. So, so I would say that every Vedic wisdom is unique, and we'll find out what this Vedic wisdom has in store for us. Some things, of course, are common: the Padyatra, the Upanayana, the overview of the Vedas, and yet it's the group that makes the course, and not the course that makes the group.
Wow, wonderful answer. Kashibaya, I have also a question for you. Nowadays, there are so many yoga teacher programs all over the world, all over India, whether it is in Mysore or Rishikesh. How is the art of living yoga teacher program different from all these?
Well, to answer that question, I would probably have to participate in all those other programs, and then I can say, hey, this is different from that program in this way, that way. But for me, the word yoga itself signifies union or coming together. So I would say I'm not so interested in seeing what is the difference between all these programs, but I know for sure what's special about Art of Living Yoga program. And I would say that speciality is Shri Shri. In the Art of Living Yoga program, it carries the signature of Shri Shri's style of teaching yoga. And like many of us would have already experienced, it's unique, it's joyful, it's amazing in its simplicity and its profoundness. Often, when we say something is simple, it lacks depth. And when something has a lot of depth, it takes a lot of effort. But here is something that is very simple in its nature and yet very deep in its nature. So that's something that Art of Living Yoga very uniquely offers. That's what I feel. I might be wrong, but when I look at the way the Art of Living Yoga teachers training program is structured, it's a very beautiful way of experiencing the Yoga Sutra, the technical aspects of yoga, the anatomy and physiology, the modern aspects, medical aspects of yoga, and the opportunity to learn from some of Art of Living's foremost yoga teachers, including myself, if I may say so. No, I'm just joking. The whole idea is that to experience that flavor of yoga with which Gurudev brings to yoga, that's something which is unique. And I feel that is the USP of Art of Living Yoga. The mischievous, the joyful, and the profoundness. I would say I would really sum it up in just three short words, which is Jai Guru Dev. Guru means the depth, the wisdom, and Deva is the mischievous, the playfulness. So here is something which is both wise yet playful, and that really is Art of Living Yoga. Hari.
Yes. Kashi, we have received one question from Juan. Juan is coming from Colombia, and he's asking, I am taking the blessing course on the 5th of March. I am already an Art of Living teacher. Do you have any recommendations for prior to doing this course?
Oh, prior to doing the blessing course or the Vedic
Yes,
course?
the blessing course.
Oh, just relax. It's the course itself is a blessing. So it's another course that's so amazing to do. Um, there's no preparation needed for doing any of these courses. Of course, there are prerequisites. So you need to have done some courses to be able to do some of the courses. Yet, most of our courses really don't require any preparation. Just land up there. Of course, you registered previously so that you know for sure you have space to participate. But but I would say just come and enjoy. It's an amazing course. I would say it's much more than a blessing. It's a blessing for us to do the course, to to experience that profound knowledge that Gurudev talks about. I think I'm getting some questions here also. Yeah. So there's this person who's asking, why come to the ashram? You know, for many of us who are going to be coming from so far away, it's a golden opportunity to be at Bangalore ashram. Uh, one more thing is that after the celebrations in Delhi, we're going to be having another celebration in Bangalore too. So it makes sense to make the whole circuit. Hmm. In 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 fact, before the World Culture Festival, we have some events, and after the World Culture Festival, we have some events happening in the ashram. And it's probably the best time of the year to be in the ashram where the weather is so nice and pleasant. So I would say, yeah, this is the best time to come to the ashram. Any other questions, Ari?
Yes, we have received two more questions. Is it okay? Do we have still have time to answer the questions?
Yes.
Yeah, so one question has come from Hannah from US,
Mhm.
and she is asking, how does Sri Sri manage to make every single one of his followers feel that he has a personal relationship with him, even though he has millions of followers?
Once someone asked Guruji this question, and he said, there are millions of hair on the head, but even if one is pulled, you know which one that is. So, in that sense, I guess he's so connected with himself, with the self, and that self is something that is connected to each and every one of us. On the spiritual path, first comes sensitivity, and then comes strength. Many of us might have noticed as we start meditating, we suddenly start becoming much more sensitive to our environment. Someone is feeling something, it affects us. Someone else is angry, it affects us much more. And as we start continuing our sadhana, as we keep going with our sadhana, then we are sensitive, yet we have the strength to handle all those emotions, all the sensitivities. So when I look at Gurudev, I see him, he is the epitome of sensitivity and strength at the same time. So, and that's something so precious, so amazing that that and that's what makes him the Guru. In a certain sense, all of us gain a part of that when we start doing our Sudarshan Kriya, our practices, when we all start becoming that, empathizing with more and more people. And as we start doing a teacher's training program and start teaching courses, I guess that keeps building up. That ability which is there within each one of us starts building up. And I feel that this is very natural. It's just that Gurudev is at that pinnacle where he's been able to develop all these things to such a degree that each one of us feels so connected. Great, next.
Yes. Bhaiya, this is the last question. Although many questions are still popping in, we have for limited time. This question is coming from Praveen from Dubai, and he is asking,
Yeah.
we have only now 2 more months left before the WCF is starting. So in what way should we focus now? What shall we do to contribute on this WCF?
The first way to contribute to WCF is to make sure that you do your sadhana and as many people as possible do sadhana. So maybe organize group sadhanas, group follow-ups, do your daily sadhana together. Maybe even if 2 or 3 people can get together and do your sadhana, I think that's a great way to contribute to WCF. Second, talk to people about it. I was on a flight from Delhi to Bangalore, and the person next to me looked at my hair, and asked me about my life. I started talking a little bit. I talked about meditation, Sudarshan Kriya, Seva, Ashram, and that person was very happy that I was doing it, but I didn't feel that he really wanted to do all those things. And then in the end, I said, we are also having this World Culture Festival, 11th, 12th, and 13th of March, where so many people are going to be landing in Delhi. And he said, oh, really? Wow, that sounds interesting. And he took all the details and he said, I'm going to be there. Now, this was just some person sitting next to me on a flight. There are so many people out there who probably are really interested in culture, and we have no idea. Maybe they're not interested in meditation or seva or any of the other things, but maybe culture interests them. So I would say is the second way in which we can contribute is letting as many people know about this event as much as we can. So, like in India, when there is a marriage in the family, you usually sit down and make a whole big list of all the people you would like to invite. I'm sure this happens everywhere. And then you start calling them up and saying, hey, we are having this function, this event in our family, please do come. So I would say maybe that's the second thing that we can do. Look at it as my event. Hey, I'm organizing this huge festival of 3.5 million people and I'm going to be there, or I'm organizing it from here. Would you like to come and visit? So that's the second way. Invite people. Invite as many people as possible. Own the festival. Know that it is my festival. It's not someone else organizing it. It's me organizing it. And when I feel that it's my festival, then when I talk to people about it, the way I talk completely changes. So second aspect, make sure you talk to people about it, saying that, hey, this is a festival I'm organizing, do come. Second one. The third one, you know, um, any festival of this magnitude, any event of this magnitude is an opportunity for all of us to feel the connection, to feel part of the master. And this is a time when we can say, oh, in whatever way I can help out, whether I can make posters, whether I can do some creative stuff, whether I can write poetry, create movies, or give some funds, collect some funds, ask people for it. You can go and talk to people and say, hey, I'm doing this festival for world peace. Uh, Often people get together for football or some other things. But here we are all getting together for world peace, and and I'm organizing this. Would you like to contribute and stand up and be counted for peace? The hardest thing for a sadhak is to go and ask for money, and that's also probably the biggest sadhana for a sadhak. When we, that's why in the ancient days, Buddha gave a begging bowl to all his disciples and said, "Go." All of Buddha's disciples were princes and kings, people from all walks of life, and he gave every one of them a begging bowl and said, "Go and ask." When we ask, it does something to our ego. It helps us to transcend the ego. These walls that we build between ourselves and which separate us from me and you, they break down when we go and ask for something. So for your own sake, go and ask something and see the magic happen. So these three aspects we can really do for WCF at this point of time. One, do your sadhana. Two, um, talk to as many people, invite as many people to your festival, to my festival. And three, collect funds. Go ahead, ask people for it. And that does amazing transformation at all levels of our existence. Great, Ari.
Thank you so
I think
much,
we
Kashi,
are almost close to the ending time.
sharing your wisdom and experience with us. And thank you for taking time off. I know that you have an incredible busy schedule and you're engaged with so many projects. It's going around the clock, and that 1 hour means a lot to a lot of people around the world right this moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Ari. It was a pleasure to meet
And I would like to
you.
invite everyone to on the same page as where the Hangout is right now happening. You can see the programs that are happening right before and right after the WCF at Vancouver. There's also some videos in different languages we have kept posted, so please have a look.
Thank you. Very
Thank you,
good.
everyone. Jai Guru.